went to IIT and got my BTech in aerospace engineering. After I finished my BTech in aerospace, I went and did my master's and then my PhD at Stanford. As I was graduating from there, I spent a few months at NASA Ames Research Center, which is in Moffett Field, California, working in their air traffic management concepts group. And then shortly after that, I moved to the Boston area and MIT to join the Department of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Earlier this fall, I got appointed the Associate Dean of Engineering at MIT. It's really truly an honor to be part of that. The School of Engineering at MIT is where I've built my career. I think some of the priorities that our president, Conbluth, has laid out are things around what do we do about climate change and how do we look at the, modernize life sciences and how do we merge things in the humanities, arts, and social sciences with engineering and STEM disciplines. These are things that really we need to do as a society, and it is really fantastic to be part of a collaborative effort in the school led by Dean Anantha Chandrakasan to work on these problems. I think one of the things that we would like to do is really see how we can make the School of Engineering at MIT a place where research on these topics really can thrive.
Welcome to Indian Union News. Our guest today is Hamsa Balakrishnan. She is Associate Dean at MIT School of Engineering. She is a professor of Aeronautics and Astronautics.
Yes.
I got it, right?
Yes,
good.
Perfect.
On November 15th, she will be honored with the Academia and Innovation Award at annual New England Choice Awards Gala at Burlington Marriott Hotel in Burlington. We are going to talk to her about her journey from Madras to Boston and MIT. Hamsa, welcome to our studio.
Thank you, and thank you again. I'm so humbled by this honor.
We are honored actually, and we are so excited to see you there on November 15th. And we expect over 400 people there in the audience from all different disciplines. So it's going to be a fun evening and night. Now, before we come to MIT, we want to go back to India. And I have been told, somebody told me who knows you and your family very well, that your dad is a legend in India, and so is your mom. So let's first start with your dad.
Sure. So my parents are both theoretical physicists, and my father is a professor of physics. He's now retired at IIT Madras. And my mother worked at the Institute of Mathematical Sciences. I grew up as I have a brother as well, an older brother, and we grew up in Madras, in sort of the center of Madras as well.
And very intellectual family too. So how was that growing up? Like you have father and mother very accomplished.
I think I realize now how lucky I was and how the circumstances that I grew up in were very special. It was I was also very lucky in I grew up with my grandmother and my great grandmother, my father's grandmother and my father's mother when I grew up, which. I think looking back, I realized that is why my mother could work because, childcare is still a challenge in India. But back then, I think it was even more difficult to have a woman have a career. But it was also very special for me because I grew up with incredible people who would encourage curiosity and encourage us to ask questions and just be curious about everything.
So again, I grew up in a farm in India, so our daily life was, the rice and all these, wheat and all those things. For you, like having these two, the mother and father who were very intellectual, as you said. What was like day-to-day conversation? Did anything strike to you, or it was just beyond your comprehension?
I don't think, no, I did not understand when they were talking about work. I don't think I understood anything. I think it was, they didn't do anything. It wasn't any special conversations. I just remember that there were a lot of books around at home. So I grew up loving to read, but it was something where I never had to, I was never short of books to read that I hadn't read at home. And so
then you go to high school in Madras.
I do.
What motivated you to go to IIT Madras?
So I think I grew through most of middle school and early in high school. I really liked the reading part of things, and I liked writing. And I didn't think that I was particularly interested in math or science early on. But by the time I was in high school proper, 9th and 10th grade, I started getting interested in science and math more than I had been earlier. I think one thing that helped is my brother had gone to IIT and he graduated from IIT Madras when I was in my 10th grade. And I think seeing that as a path, he had written the joint entrance exam and done it. So it just seemed like, okay, he did it. So I knew what had to be done. And
so your brother is Hamsa Balakrishnan, who is also at MIT.
He is also a professor at MIT,
okay.
Yes, in computer science.
Okay. So now you mentioned your brother went to IIT Madras, you went to IIT Madras. And I know so many people who are from IIT Madras. Boston is full with people from IIT Madras. So my question to you is, what is there in that water of the IIT Madras?
I think most people, if you ask them, would say, don't drink the water in the tap in the hostel, right? You don't drink water straight from the tap. I don't think it was the water. I think it was a very special place because of the peer group. I think the undergrad experience for me was largely, I met friends there and we remained friends our entire life. And it was, I think it's really the environment where you have people who are, at that stage in their youth, they're very motivated, they're curious about the world, and it's a wonderful environment to be in. And I think it's that more than anything else that really nurtures what we have become since.
So what brought you from IIT Madras to, what was the next step in your life?
I went to graduate school at Stanford. I graduated in aerospace engineering. So my undergrad in IIT Madras was in aerospace engineering. I went to Stanford and I started, initially Stanford has, in those days would have a master's and then you would decide whether you wanted to do a PhD or not. And I think much like I wasn't sure if engineering was the thing I wanted to do, but then around the 10th standard, I realized that I would want to do that. It was quite similar where I said, well, the master's was a good way to decide whether I liked doing more.
So what about, generally, like in our culture in India and all, I really didn't know many women who were really, first studying, the physics and science. Of course, there were some great the women scientists and physicists there. But what made you interested in going this area?
I think fundamentally, I realized that I liked engineering. Engineering was applying math and physics, the fundamentals that I enjoyed working on, but solving real world problems. And so it's always this thing where if you like something and you can have an opportunity to do more of it, you keep doing it till.
And so you finished your PhD, and then what happens?
I finished my PhD, and then I spent about 9 months at NASA Ames Research Center, which is also in Moffett Field. It's quite close to Stanford. And then I moved to MIT.
And what was the research you did at the NASA?
Yeah, so they had they still do a lot of work in aviation and air transportation, which is where my research is. People think that NASA does only space, but really one of the A's in NASA is aeronautics. And so at that time, there was a lot of interesting work on things that I continued working on after I came to MIT on automation for airport operations.
So as I was reading your bio, and so this is one thing that stuck to me, that most of us who travel, and, the plane is waiting there, it's not landing, or if it's landing, it is just on the queue. And all the things go. Sometime, if you have kids who are frustrated, oh my God, how long is it going to take? So just tell our viewers some of those, how do you deal with those challenges, and what are the key problems in that smooth flow?
Sure. So it's a combination of, it's like traffic, it's like road traffic, and we all know what happens when there's gridlock or congestion on the roads. And the same thing can happen at an airport if the system is not managed well. And so one of the things that we did, that I led an effort at MIT, almost a decade ago now, is trying to see how do we change the way air traffic controllers in the tower. So give them decision support tools that helps them manage traffic more smoothly, where the traffic is not cars, but it's airplanes. Because airplanes are, they're burning a lot of fuel even when they're on the ground. And so it is really an expensive thing to have the gridlock on the ground. And so what we do is we use tools from controls and optimization to build the algorithms, which can then tell the controllers what to do and how to manage the traffic. And so this was something that we were lucky enough to actually field test at Boston Airport, because we fly out of Boston enough that we want it to be efficient, and then transition that to the FAA for broader use.
So now fast forward to 50 years from now, and those of us who drive in this Boston traffic, we see so much traffic, get frustrated, and sometime at least thought comes to my mind, I wish my car could lift up, fly, and we could avoid the traffic. Is there any possibility of that happening in the future, or it is just imagination?
I mean, I think there's a lot of, there are right now, especially a lot of companies that are talking about these almost flying cars, right? Like these short takeoff, vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. I think there's some, there's technological challenges, but a lot of the work that we do in my group now is really how do you make some aspects of that a reality. I think one of the things that is very clear is that everybody cannot become a pilot. We have a lot of drivers, but you need some level of autonomy, so self-flying technology that needs to be on these vehicles. And I think that in particular for me, the kind of applications of autonomous planes that I think we should move towards very quickly are in cases where the ground infrastructure is, either there was a disaster or some natural disaster and the ground infrastructure is broken, or is now you have to move something very rapidly. So think about, medication, or you think about medical flights where somebody needs to be evacuated very quickly, or, search and rescue type things. And this is a place where it's really a transformative time to be in aerospace, because if you bring the tools that we build on the computing side and blend them with the ability to fly, then there is so much we can do to help society. And I think that's really where a lot of the current excitement in what we do is.
Well, so now you are on the forefront. This summer, you were appointed Associate Dean at the School of Engineering at MIT. What are some of the challenges you are going to tackle in your as Associate Dean at the School of Engineering at MIT in terms of technology, the future of the students?
I think there's a couple of dimensions to that. I think one is really the people element of it, right? With the students and the faculty as well, and the staff, the people who work at MIT. A large part of and it's a team effort, really. The School of Engineering has been a fantastic place. to be, and it's a place where I've grown up over the past 11 years. There are really two elements here. So one is the research side, but that has to be supported by the people who enable that research and the exciting things we want to do. The faculty, the staff, the students. I think on the research side, MIT has the School of Engineering is a fantastic place, and really the Dean's Office, led by Professor Ananta Chandrakarsan, is a collaborative effort. That it's a team effort, really. And the challenges that the president of MIT, Sally Kornbluth, has laid forth, things like how do we deal with climate change? So the climate initiative, or the life sciences aspects of it, or the merger of humanities and the humanities and the arts and the STEM fields. All of these have engineering at the heart of it. Mm-hmm. And so I think part of what I would like to work on, and really I'm excited about, is how do we, it's all truly interdisciplinary, right? It's no longer a case where one department or one field alone is going to help solve these critical challenges for society. And I think we want to foster collaboration between the faculty and students and staff to meet these problems, to address these problems. I think there's also a revolution that's happening on the computing and on the technology side, which we need to harness to solve these critical problems. And so I think a lot of what the focus that we think about is how do we make build the environment that gives people the all the tools and also the infrastructure and the surroundings which makes them be the best at research and solving.
So now all these things we are talking about. So I want you to go back, to your high school when you were growing up in high school. So did that Hamsa, that high school girl, ever thought about coming to MIT and thinking about all these big ideas?
I don't think so. No. I think at some level it was serendipity. I was fortunate that there were the right environment that happened. I think when I read books at that stage, there was always this notion of maybe doing something that would be meaningful. I think, as I said, the part of IIT Madras that I really took away and enjoyed was working with other people and collaborating. And I think part of that is academia is a good place to do that. I think being in a university, it's a unique environment where you see people as you meet students. The students seem to get younger and younger every year. To me, I realize that it's because I'm getting older. But it is not something I would have possibly imagined.
So now, if with your experience in life and all the things which you have done, a God comes to you and say, Hamsa, okay, what is next? Whatever you want, I will give you this. So in terms of a career or discipline you will choose, what that you will be?
I think I'll stay. I don't know that I would change my career, because I think the world has become something where it is, if you find something, you can always change direction. And I think that's been the nice thing about the research field and academia to me, which is it is always evolving, and people are working on different aspects all the time. And there are very few places where one gets the chance to do that, and I'm lucky enough to have that. So I think
and also you have also broken this barrier, the gender barrier in science, in STEM, in academics, and it's still a long way to go. So now, if somebody is watching and listening to us, and if there is a young girl, what advice you will give it to her?
I think I would say that you should go for it. As I said, I was lucky enough that my mother was, her generation broke a lot more barriers than I can ever imagine. And I think its progress is slow, certainly not as fast as we would like, but I think it takes people to continue doing what they want to do and what they're interested in, right? And not stepping back from doing something or changing course just because society doesn't say that you should do it. I think if you really want to do it and you're interested in it and you find it fun, you should work on it. And
so you said that we are aging. So in that context, have you ever asked yourself that who am I, or who is Hamsa?
I have not.
You have not? Okay. So then you are still very young. Then, okay. I think a phase comes when you start asking who I am. But let me ask you, just take a guess, for example. If I ask, who is Hamsa? What is the values? What is how, give me some insight about her. Fun.
So I think I like working with people. I like collaborating. I think that is fundamentally me. I like, maybe this comes from my, father who's a professor, but I like teaching. Which is not something I would have thought I would have said, in 8th grade.
And when you are not teaching or working, what is the hobby? What entertains you?
I listen to a lot of music, but quite a range of different types of music.
Like such as?
A lot of music from the 60s and 70s, rock music, so Beatles or the Rolling Stones or Bob Dylan. And then Hindi movie music, songs from that generation because I grew up listening to that. I really like word puzzles and crosswords, and I really like trivia.
Now, off the camera, when we were talking about, you mentioned that you have a son also who has changed many schools in, multi-years. So, what just one lesson you will teach him in life? I'm putting you on a spot here.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to see this. I think he's 15, and at this stage, I feel that to some extent it is to find that combination of, I think there is no to do anything that you want to do. If you want to get to work on something or solve something, it is going to be hard work. It's a lot easier when you like doing that work. When you like thinking about a particular problem or trying to solve it or doing something, then it doesn't feel quite as, it doesn't feel a chore. And so to try to find something that is that combination of something that is meaningful to you and that you enjoy doing. And I think if you do that, the rest of it sort of falls into place on its own. Sure. And it can be anything at all. It doesn't have to be, I think every field has that, right? Like no matter what you do, I think it is a question of finding a combination for everybody of things that they like doing enough that they don't mind putting in the effort to do it.
Now, your both parents are settled in India right now. How often do you go to India? Or when was the last time you went to India?
I was in India in January. So I usually go there around December or January for a few weeks.
Yeah. So now from this mature phase of your life, and you have seen what your parents, your mother and everybody has contributed. When you go there, what do you tell your parents? What do you talk with them? And what do they tell
I think now mostly we talk about the grandkids.
Okay.
I think a lot of the conversation, and then my grandmother, whom I grew up with, is also lives in Chennai. So and my aunt and uncle. So it's just nice we mostly go back and see family, and then my parents-in-law live in Bangalore, so we sort of spend time between Chennai and Bangalore. But yeah, I think most of the conversation is combination of just things that are going on, interesting things.
And you're just talking about family. Your husband is also a professor, or
no?
Okay.
He has a startup, so
He is a
he's
startup.
an entrepreneur.
In what
but
area? In technology? Or?
In technology.
Okay.
We met as undergrads in IIT Madras, so
See,
it is indeed a special place for me.
I think we keep going back to IIT Madras. Yes, yeah, okay.
As I said, it is a special place.
Okay, so this was love at first sight, or there was a lot of courting going on? No,
no, I think we knew each other. We were friends as undergrads, but we did not start dating till we were both in.
So I think this would also change the name of IIT Madras to IIT Matrimonial University or something like that. I have met so many people who went to IIT Madras and then they married, as they found somebody to in that area. So, Hamsa, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much again.
And we are looking forward to honoring you on November 15th at the Nika Gala.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.